My parents gave my $70,000 college fund to my stepsister. A decade later, they called me crying for financial help. I, 29M, never thought I'd be writing this, but after what happened yesterday, I need to get this off my chest. Growing up, I was always told I had a college fund. My grandparents had started it when I was born, and my parents added to it every month. Your education is our priority, they'd say. I believed them. When I was 14, my parents divorced. It wasn't pretty, but it wasn't horrible either. Dad moved out, Mom kept the house, and I split my time between them. A year later, Dad remarried a woman with a daughter my age. My stepmom was nice enough, and her daughter and I got along okay, though we were never close. Fast forward to my senior year of high school. I had good grades, got accepted to several universities, including my dream school. When the time came to discuss finances, I asked about my college fund. The look on my parents' faces told me everything before they even spoke. About that, Dad started not meeting my eyes. We had to make some adjustments. Those adjustments meant my entire college fund, nearly $70,000, had been given to my stepsister for her education. All of it. Every penny my grandparents had saved, everything my parents had contributed over the years. Gone. Their explanation? Stepsister had been accepted to an exclusive private university with incredible opportunities. Her biological father wasn't in the picture, and they felt she deserved the same chances as me. Except they hadn't created a new fund for me. There was nothing. You can get loans, Mom suggested. Or maybe community college for 2 years. It's much more affordable. I was devastated. This wasn't just about money. It was about the years of promises, the future they'd planned for me, suddenly redirected to someone who'd been in our lives for less than 4 years. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just went to my room, applied for every scholarship I could find, and took out loans for the rest. I chose a state school I could somewhat afford rather than my dream university. I worked 30 hours a week while taking a full course load. I ate ramen and skipped social events to save money. Meanwhile, stepsister went to her fancy private university, lived in premium housing, joined a sorority, and spent holidays abroad. I saw it all on social media. Not once did she acknowledge where her privileged college experience came from. After graduation, I cut contact with my parents. It wasn't just the money. It was their complete disregard for how their decision affected me. The way they expected me to just accept it and move on, as if what they'd done wasn't a betrayal. I threw myself into my career, worked overtime, weekends, holidays, took additional certifications, networked aggressively, changed companies twice for better opportunities. I lived with 3 roommates in a cramped apartment to save money and pay off my loans faster. 10 years of grinding later, I'm debt-free and doing well. I'm not rich, but I've built a comfortable life. I bought a modest house last year in a good neighborhood. I take vacations occasionally. I have savings and investments. I'm proud of what I've accomplished on my own. Yesterday, my phone rang with my father's number. I almost didn't answer. We haven't spoken in years except for brief, awkward holiday calls. Son, he said, his voice strained. We need to talk. Long story short, Dad and stepmom are in financial trouble. Stepsister graduated with an expensive degree but has bounced between jobs, never staying anywhere long enough to build a career. She's back living with them, along with her boyfriend. Mom lost her job during COVID and never fully recovered financially. Dad's business is struggling. They're behind on mortgage payments and facing potential foreclosure. And they wanted to know if I could help the family out. The irony wasn't lost on me. The people who had taken my future and handed it to someone else were now asking me to rescue theirs. We're family, Dad said. Family helps each other in tough times. I laughed. I couldn't help it. Family, I repeated. Was it family when you gave away my education fund without even discussing it with me? Was it family when I was working night shifts and taking on debt while she was posting spring break photos from Cancun? There was silence on the other end. I worked for everything I have. I continued, surprising myself with how calm I sounded. No one helped me. No one gave me anything. And now you're calling because you need something from me. Mom got on the phone then, crying about how they just needed a temporary loan until things improved. Stepsister even took the phone at one point, talking about how hard things had been for her. I listened to it all, feeling strangely detached. When they finished, I simply said, I'm sorry, but no. I can't help you. Dad started to argue, bringing up how they'd raised me, fed me, clothed me, as if doing the basic requirements of parenthood entitled them to my hard-earned money. You made your choice 10 years ago, I told him. You chose her over me then. You don't get to choose me now because it's convenient. I hung up and blocked their numbers. Am I the asshole? Maybe. I don't wish financial hardship on anyone. But there's a bitter satisfaction in knowing they're facing the consequences of their choices, just as I faced mine. The difference is, I overcame mine. Some might say I should be the bigger person, that helping them would break the cycle. But I spent 10 years digging myself out of a hole they put me in. I'm not jumping back in. Update, 2 days later. I didn't expect this post to get so much attention. Thank you for all the supportive comments and messages. Some updates since I posted. My stepsister reached out through social media, sending a long message about how I'm being selfish and heartless. Apparently, they're telling family members I'm hoarding wealth while they suffer. What wealth? I have a modest home with a mortgage and a decent job. I'm not exactly Jeff Bezos over here. My aunt, mom's sister, called to tell me she's disappointed in me. When I explained what had happened with the college fund, she was shocked. Turns out my parents told everyone they had helped both of us equally with college. They've been lying for years. After thinking it over and reading your comments, I've decided to stick with my decision. I won't be giving them money, but I did send links to financial assistance resources and job boards to my dad's email. That's the extent of the help I can offer right now. Several people asked about my grandparents. They passed away when I was in high school, before the college fund situation happened. I often wonder if things would have been different had they still been alive. To those asking if I'd consider helping just my mom since she wasn't the one who remarried, she was equally responsible for the decision. Both my parents had access to the fund, and both agreed to give it to my stepsister. Neither of them fought for me. I don't hate my family. I'm not even angry anymore, just disappointed and detached. I've built my own support system of friends who have become like family to me. I'm at peace with my decision and focusing on continuing to build my life on my terms. Update, 1 week later. Things have escalated. Extended family members have been calling and texting nonstop, most taking my parents' side without knowing the full story. I've started sharing the truth, and opinions are shifting. My stepsister posted a rant on social media about toxic family members who don't care about anyone but themselves. She didn't name me, but it was obvious who she meant. What's interesting is seeing her friends' comments asking why she doesn't just get a job instead of relying on family support. Even her own circle seems tired of the situation. I received an email from my father with the subject line, "Your mother is crying herself to sleep every night." The email detailed how stressed they are, how they might lose their house, how they never thought I'd turn my back on them. It ended with, "After everything we've done for you." That last line hit a nerve. I spent the evening going through old photos and memories, trying to reconcile the parents who took me camping and came to my Little League games with the ones who betrayed me when it mattered most. It's confusing to love someone and be hurt by them simultaneously. I replied with a simple message. "I'm sorry you're struggling, but I worked through my own financial hardships without help. I believe you can do the same." One positive outcome. My cousin reached out to say he'd always felt something was off about how my parents treated me versus my stepsister. We're getting dinner next week to reconnect. I'm standing firm in my decision. This situation has reinforced something important. Respecting yourself sometimes means allowing others to face the consequences of their actions, even when it's difficult to watch. Thank you again for all the support. It means more than you know to have validation that I'm not crazy for feeling the way I do. Final update, 1 month later. I didn't plan on updating again, but things have taken a surprising turn. Last week, I received a handwritten letter from my stepsister. Unlike her previous messages, this one was actually humble. She apologized for her role in what happened, admitting she knew about the college fund situation back then, but was too selfish to care. She wrote that losing her entitlement has been the worst but best thing that ever happened to me. Apparently, after her social media rant backfired, she had a wake-up call. She's taken a job at a local restaurant. Not glamorous, but it's something. She's looking for her own place and has stopped asking my parents for money. As for my parents, they're selling their house, not because of foreclosure, but because they've finally realized they can't afford it. They're downsizing to an apartment. My mom found a job at a grocery store, and my dad is picking up consulting work where he can. My aunt invited me to dinner and asked if I would consider reconciliation. I said I wasn't opposed to it, but it would need to start with honest acknowledgement of what happened, not just because they need something from me. Yesterday, I received an email from my father. It was short, just a few lines. "I've been thinking about what you said. You're right. We made choices that hurt you deeply, then expected you to pretend it didn't happen when it became convenient. I'm sorry, not because we need help now, but because what we did was wrong. I understand if it's too late for apologies. I haven't responded yet. I'm still processing. Part of me wants to maintain the distance I've created, but another part wonders if there's a way forward that doesn't involve totally cutting them off, but also doesn't open me up to being hurt again. For now, I'm taking time to think. The biggest lesson I've learned through all this is that I'm stronger than I ever knew. Whatever I decide about my relationship with my family going forward will be on my terms, not out of obligation or guilt. Thank you to everyone who supported me through this. Your comments helped me stay strong when I was wavering. Whatever happens next, I know I'll be okay.